All right, number 85. Okay, so we're back where we were yesterday. Last year, the Wii game system cost $249.99. This year, the same game system costs $199.99. What's the percent of markdown, Ms. Paisel? What's the percent of markdown? And round it to the nearest percent. Okay, so I know from what we did yesterday that my percent of change really? You wait until I start recording to equals the difference over the original. So I'll wait for everybody to get their lives together so we can keep going.
We don't have paper, we don't have pencils. I don't know what to say.
Thank you, Peyton. I appreciate the fact that you're ready. I still have people talking. All right, so number 85. How am I going to set this up?
Oh, you gotta get the number 24999. Don't you get your difference and then your
Okay, so how am I going to do my difference?
the difference is like the number that it marked down to.
Well, how about we look back at what we did yesterday so we can make sure we understand what we're talking about. What does difference mean? Subtract. What am I subtracting? No, I'm not subtracting the difference. For the difference, I have to take my original price and the new price and subtract them, right? That's the difference in price. So I have to take the $249.99 and subtract the $199.99. And then I'm going to divide that by my original price, which was what?
1999.
Really?
It was 249.
Yeah, it's $249.99. Okay? What's the difference between $249.99 and $199.99? It's $50. I'm going to divide 50 by $249.99, and what do I get?
Wait, just a minute. I'm gonna do this dividing.
Mm-hmm.
So you get
0.200. It says to round to the nearest whole percent. So that's going to be what? 20%. Okay, so my answer for number 85 is 20%. Okay. All right, let's look at number 86. Mr. Perez went to his favorite restaurant for lunch. His lunch cost $15. What was the total bill if he left a 20% tip? If he left a 20% tip, that means his total bill, okay, wait, this was number 85. So this is number 86. So his total bill equals his bill plus his tip. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that total again?
What was his bill? $15. And how much of a tip did he leave? He left a 20% tip. Okay? Now that I've got that, I can move this so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay. There are two different ways I can do this. Okay? So I'm going to take, to find my tip, tip equals my bill times my percent. Okay? It's like we're finding a percent of a number. Okay? So we want to find out what 20% of 15 is. Right? We've talked about finding percent of a number. So I'm going to take 15 and multiply it times 20%. How do I write 20% as a decimal? 0.2. Okay, so what is 15 times 0.2?
15 times 3?
Nope, 15 times 0.2. 15,
0.2.
it's 0.3. It's 3. So my tip is $3. So if I come back up here, my total equals my bill, which was 15, plus my tip, which was 3, so that equals 18. That was his total bill. Okay, there were a lot of steps there, weren't there? Okay. Would you agree that this right here is 100% of his bill? This is 100%, right? And this was 20%, right? So the total amount that he paid was what percent of his bill? The total amount that he paid was what percent of his original bill? It was 120%. How do I write 120% as a decimal? 1.2. So I can take his bill, which was $15, and if I multiply it times 120%, plug that into your calculator. Tell me what you get.
Don't say it. What?
15 times 1.2. It's 18. 15 times 1.2. This is the 100% of his bill plus the 20% tip, all in one calculation. So if they didn't ask me what the tip was, I don't have to do it this way. Like if they had said how much of a tip is he going to leave, and then what was his total, we need to do it this way. But if they didn't ask us that, we can just do it this way. Okay? This was his total. This is bill plus tip, all in one. Okay? Does that make sense? Are you sure? Because some of you are looking at me like I'm crazy. I mean, we've already established that a long time ago, but so it was $18 total, which was $15 bill plus a $3 tip. Okay? All right, number 87. Mr. Green went to a local computer store to buy a computer that's on sale. The sales tax rate is 7% of the sale price. If Mr. Green pays $87.50, what is the sales price of the computer? Okay? So my total equals my price plus my tax, right? Is it asking me for a total? Nope, it's asking me for the price. Okay? So I need to figure out how we got the tax. So tax is my price times my percent of tax, my percent tax rate, right? So I know what he paid in sales tax, right? How much did he pay in sales tax? Nope. Amount. What did he pay? He paid $87.50, so that was his tax. $87.50 equals the price times what was his tax rate? How do I write 7% as a decimal? How do I write it as 7%? 0.7 is 70%.
0.07.
0.07. Okay? So then I just divide both sides by 0.07. Divide it by 0.07. So tell me, how much was his computer?
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
It was. Don't say it. Don't say it. No.
Okay.
Yeah. $1,250.
$1,250.
That's a lot.
What did you do, Peyton?
I think I typed in the number wrong.
Yeah, I've been having that trouble today. I have like fat finger syndrome going on with the calculator today.
My dad has something in there.
That's what we call my husband's fingers, sausage fingers. All right. Monet and Carissa went shopping at Mod Fashion Shack. Everything in the store had a 25% discount. Monet found a shirt to buy which originally cost $20. Okay, what was the sale price? How can I figure that out? This would be percent of a number, right? Sort of. Okay. So I have two different ways I can do this one. If I have a $20 shirt, okay, and it's on sale, so this is the price, it's a 25% discount, okay, so to find the sale price, equals my original price times my discount, or I could do it this way. I can do a percent of change. So my change equals difference over original. I don't think that one's going to work as well, though. Nah, let's not do it that way. That's too complicated. I'll have too many variables and stuff to make disappear and go crazy. So if I want to find what's 25% of 20, what do I do? Percent of a number. What is it? How do I do it? Price and discount.
Down there.
I scribbled it out. It doesn't matter. We're not doing that. Okay, so price. So the shirt is $20. It's 25% off. How do I find out how much it's worth? I can't subtract dollars and percents. What am I dividing?
Oh, you have to
The
divide.
decimal.
Two.
You gotta divide this
What
with
did it be?
or that's the other one.
Well, this is point. This I do this as 0.25. Okay,
Then you would divide it,
I'm not going to divide it.
multiply.
Percent of a number. 20% or 25% of 20, which means I multiply 25% times 20. That gives me what?
55.
5. 1/4 of 20, right, is $5, right? 5 times 4. All right. So is that the price of the shirt?
No.
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 It's 25% off. So this is how much I'm taking off, right? So this is my discount.
It's $15.
Okay. So then I do 20 minus 5 equals 15. Okay. So the shirt cost $15. That was kind of a long, convoluted way to get there, wasn't there? If I'm not paying 25% of the cost of the shirt, how much of the original price am I paying? If this price of the shirt is 100% of the price, and I'm not paying 25% of the original price, what percent am I paying?
The 5%. Or the no, what is it? The 5%.
If this percent is the original price, and I'm not paying 25% of it because that's the discount. So this is the original price. This is the discount. Okay, so I'm paying 75%, right? So I can take the 20 and multiply it times 75%. Tell me what you come up with. I really don't want to have to call individual students out while I'm recording something that your parents have access to, so maybe you should start paying attention. 15.
Is that audio too?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
1,000.
No. 20 times 0.75.
Oh, I know.
75% is 0.75.
20.
Wouldn't it be 15?
Yeah. It's $15 either way. Okay? The sale price is $15. Okay? Number 89. Last year, a pair of shoes sold for $45. This year, the same pair of shoes sold for $60. To the nearest whole percent, what's the percent increase in the price of shoes? This is another percent of change problem, right?
Yep.
So my percent of change equals my difference over my original, right? Okay. So how am I going to figure out the difference? What am I subtracting, Mohammed?
45.
Okay, so 60 minus 45, and I'm going to divide that by what? 45. Okay, so what is 15 divided by 45 gives me what?
0.3.
Okay, so now it wants me to the nearest whole percent. What was the increase in the price of shoes? That's not a percent.
30%.
Would it be 30%? What does this mean?
Oh, so it'd be 33%.
Right.
Infinite.
So it wanted the whole thing. So
Oh, yeah.
it said to round to the nearest whole percent. So it's 33%.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be, but this says to round it to the nearest whole percent.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's why we're just doing it here. That's why it's important that we read, because on the test, if it says to round it to the nearest whole percent, and they give you an answer choice of 33 and 33.3, and you mark 33.3, you're going to get it wrong.
Oh,
That's why it's really important that we read. Nearest whole percent.
okay.
Okay? All right, number 90. Chris found a pair of shoes at Shoe Mart for $30. If she paid a total of $32.10 for the shoes at the cash register, what was her tax rate?
I already know it's 6.5. Just kidding. I was kidding. I just wanted to sound really smart. 6 because 6 times 5 is 30.
Okay, so let's stop and think about it. I know that my tax equals my price times percent, right? Right? Let me try this again. I know that tax is my price times percent, correct? Thank you. So, do we know how much she paid in tax?
No.
Really? The shoes were $30. She paid a total of $32.10. How much did she pay in tax? So $2.10 equals, what was her price? $30 times her percent, right? You with me?
Yeah.
So how do I get P by itself? How do I get 30 by itself? Divide. So the percent is what? $2.10 divided by 3. Divided by 30. No. $2.10 divided by 30. Yeah, that's what that little line right there means, is divided by. Guys, watch. $2.10 divided by 30 equals 0.07, which is what? 7%. She paid 7% sales tax, which is D.
Is that good?
That's average. That's normal tax rate.
I wasn't done yet.
All right, well, I'm going to post the video. You can watch it later. Nellie borrows $1,000 from the bank. The interest rate is 6.5% per year. How much simple interest will he pay if he takes 3 years to repay the loan? We did some simple interest stuff yesterday, didn't we? I equals PRT. Okay, so this number 91, this is an interest equals principal times rate times time. Okay? So let's label our problem. Do I know what my interest is? No, that's my rate. This is my amount of interest. Do I know my amount of interest?
Yes, 6.5.
My amount of interest, the dollar amount of interest. Read the problem. You're just calling stuff out to be calling stuff out.
You look smart.
What's the question asking me for?
It's asking for how much simple interest will you pay to take 3 years.
Okay, so I'm looking for my interest, right? I don't have that. What's my principal? My principal is the 1,000. What's my rate? What's my rate? 6.5%. What's my year? What's my time? 3 years. All right, now we've labeled everything. Let's plug what we know into the formula. My interest, that's what we're looking for, so we can leave that as I. I purdy.
I heard.
All right. What's my principal? 1,000. What's my rate? 6.5%. How do I write that as a decimal?
6.0. No.
65%.
No, this is 6.5%. How do I write that as a decimal? No.
No. 0.065.
Thank you, Edgar. 0.065 times my time, which was 3. Well, let's see if we can all plug it in the calculator
Smart now.
together and get the correct answer. So I have 1,000 times 0.065 times 3. I came up with 195. How about that? Okay, so the interest that she's going to repay the loan is 195. So what's the total amount that she's going to pay the bank back? 1,195. She initially borrowed $1,000, and she's got to pay all that back plus the $195 in interest. So she's going to pay a total of $1,195. It's a lot. All right, number 92. Mighty Middle School had a flu epidemic. When it was at its worst, only 72% of the students were in attendance. If there were 800 students at Mighty Middle School, how many students stayed home on the worst flu day? So basically what I want to know is 72%, I could do this two ways. If 72% of people were at school, how many people, what percent stayed home? 72 were at school. So if I have 100% minus 72%, that gives me 28%. So I know that 28% of 800 students stayed home.
That's a lot.
Okay?
That's gonna be hard.
So I'm going to take 800, multiply it times 28%, which is 0.28, and that's going to give me what? 800 times 28%. So how many people are staying home, Peyton?
Oh, wait, I didn't do that.
Yes, I know. That's why I called on you.
Wait a minute, I can do, I got it. Wait, what was the number? 28? It's 224.
Yes, 224 stayed home. Okay. 224 students stayed home.
It turned off.
I know, I see it. It'll come back on.
Yeah.
All right, last problem. Last problem. At the end of track season, 17.5% of the student athletes had not returned their uniform. If 33 students returned their shirt, how many students did not return their shirt? All right, so 17.5% had not returned their shirt. 33 have returned their shirt. So what percent of people had returned their shirts?
17.5.
That's not what the problem says. What does the problem say?
Say that's what.
30 days is,
Back.
Listen to my question. If 17.5% of students did not return their shirts, what percent did? 82.5%. So 82.5% returns them on time. Okay? So I know that 33 students returned if 33 students returned their shirts, so I know we've got 33 students here. Okay? How many did not return their shirt? 17.5%. So I know if I find that 33 is 82.5% of what number? Okay, I'm going to know how many total kids were on the team, right? So if I divide, so let's rewrite this. So this is 33 equals 0.825 of the team, right? So how do I get 0.825 or how do I get the t by itself? I have to divide by 0.825. Divide this by 0.825. Okay? So if I take 33 and divide it by 0.825, what do I get? T equals 40. Okay, so now I know the total number of kids on the team, right? So how many kids did not return their shirts? 7. So I have 40 total minus 33 who returned. That means 7 did not. So I had 7 that did not return it. All right? We finished. We finished.